Aaron Rodgers and Tua Tagovailoa are set to cross paths at Hard Rock Stadium this Sunday when the Miami Dolphins host the New York Jets. But this isn't just a routine divisional game, it's layered with tension, hope, and a lot of question marks. Both teams are limping through seasons they'd likely rather forget, but there's always something on the line when rivals like this meet. What's at stake isn't just a win or a loss, but pride, momentum, and perhaps a glimpse of what's possible for the future. The Dolphins are stuck in an uncomfortable spot. A 5-7 record isn't what anyone had in mind, especially after some promising stretches early in the year. Sitting second in the AFC East right now feels more like a reminder of missed opportunities than a reason to celebrate. Last week's 30-17 loss to the Green Bay Packers didn't help. It wasn't just the loss, it was how the game unfolded. Moments of brilliance drowned out by lapses in judgment and execution. The kind of game that makes you wonder, what's really holding this team back? And then there's Tua Tagovailoa. His absence this season has been a story all its own, one that doesn't leave anyone feeling good. A third concussion in 3 years is not something you can brush aside. It's the kind of thing that makes fans hold their breath every time he's on the field, scrambling or taking a hit. This time, it was against the Buffalo Bills, and it wasn't just a light bump. The aftermath put him on injured reserve and forced the Dolphins to move forward without their leader under center. What makes Tua's story so compelling and so frustrating is that he has everything you'd want in a franchise quarterback. The accuracy, the quick release, the poise under pressure. But none of that matters if he can't stay on the field. For Miami, every game he misses feels like another step back in what was supposed to be a bright future. Can he bounce back again? Should he even try? Those are the questions no one wants to ask, but everyone is thinking about. On the other side, the Jets aren't exactly a picture of stability either. Their 3-9 record tells you all you need to know about their season so far, disastrous. And it's not just the losses, it's how they've unraveled as a team. Firing head coach Robert Saleh in October was a clear sign that ownership had seen enough. It's not every day that Woody Johnson, in his 25 years at the helm, fires a coach mid-season. That kind of decision sends a ripple through the organization. Now, defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich has been handed the reins, and it's clear he's in uncharted territory. He's never been a head coach before, not at this level. His background is in building defenses, not steering entire teams. The Jets are asking a lot from a guy who's just trying to stop the bleeding. So far, that hasn't worked either. 3 straight losses to the Cardinals, Colts, and Seahawks have piled on even more frustration for a team that seems lost. What's fascinating, though, is that even in seasons like this, there are moments that show you why football is more than just stats and standings. Take Aaron Rodgers, for example. He's been around the league long enough to know that the game is bigger than what happens between the lines. When Tua went down with that concussion last season against Rodgers' Packers, no less, Rodgers didn't just move on. He reached out. After the game, he pulled Tua aside with some words of advice, words that came from a place of experience and empathy. Rodgers talked about taking care of himself, about thinking long-term. He knows the toll this game takes on your body and mind, and he wanted to make sure Tua understood that too. He's got a long career ahead of him, Rodgers said after the game, a mix of encouragement and warning. It's rare to see that kind of connection between opponents, especially in a league as cutthroat as the NFL. But that's who Rodgers is. For all his quirks, he understands the human side of the sport. And it's not just Tua. Rodgers tried to reach out to Jaylon Phillips earlier this year, too. When the Dolphins linebacker tore his Achilles at MetLife Stadium in a game against the Jets, Rodgers, who had suffered the same injury, wanted to connect. According to Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel, Rodgers was making calls late into the night, trying to find a way to offer support. It's a small thing, maybe, but it shows you the kind of person he is. All of this adds another layer to Sunday's game. It's not just about what happens on the field, it's about the stories behind the players. Tua, trying to prove he can still be the guy for Miami. Rodgers, playing the role of elder statesman and still showing flashes of brilliance when he's healthy. And the Jets, searching for an identity in the middle of yet another rebuild. The Dolphins need this win, plain and simple. They need to stop the slide, to remind themselves and their fans that this season still has something to offer. But it won't be easy. The Jets might be a mess, but they're the kind of mess that can surprise you if you're not careful. They're playing with nothing to lose, and sometimes that's the most dangerous opponent you can face. For Miami, this game is about more than just staying in the playoff hunt. It's about showing some fight, some grit. It's about proving that they can overcome the setbacks, the injuries, the doubts. Because if they can't, then what's left? What does this season mean? Those are the stakes on Sunday. And no matter how it ends, it's going to say a lot about where both these teams are headed.